Hey guys, I'm Pharaoh, a bronze player from Valorant, and I'll be teaching about the fundamentals of Valorant, which are crosshair placement, positioning, movement, and economy. Without further ado, let's do this. You may have most likely heard this term before, and they always say to aim at head level, which is true, one thing, but there's more to that. Not only do you have to aim at head level, but you would also need to aim your crosshair at a place where most likely a threat or an enemy would be. In the first clip, I'm playing on bind and I push through elbow into CT, and as I look around the corner, as you notice, my crosshair is always placed at where a potential enemy would be, and since I anticipate an enemy near CT, I pre-place it, and what do you know, there was someone there, and I pulled the trigger. I scoped in again, anticipating whether someone would be pushing through spawn, and then my teammates tell me that the last two people are in B long, and they're gonna push through garden. So I went through CT, and then I go into cubby, then I hold an angle on long, and since I anticipated and I knew someone's gonna push through long and garden, there was one, and since there was two, I was expecting another push, and what do you know, and that secured me to 3k. Another clip, which is made by my teammate, she's in a 1v1 right now, and she had anticipated, like me, that Soa would be heaven, so she placed her crosshair into heaven, and then, what do you know, Soa's in heaven, and got the frag. The next fundamental is positioning, and positioning in Valorant is basically very dependent on one of two situations. Situation 1 is to gain intel, and situation 2 is to gain the upper hand or advantage in a gunfight. So good positioning in this case would be to jiggle peek from A screens. And why I do this is so you can gain intel. So you can gain intel for if any enemies are gonna cross from A ramps, like right there. So you can tell your team that they're gonna go there. And also, you can, if you jiggle peek from here, you can still gain the same intel, but when you're in a gunfight and shoot a couple of shots, miss, you'll be able to relocate to say A heaven, and if you know they're gonna come from A ramps, you can just shoot them down right there. And that's an example of a good position. Next up, we have movement. And movement in Valorant is very different from fast-paced shooters like Call of Duty. This fundamental is important because it can help you gain intel without getting punished, just like in positioning. Can allow you to help out your teammates fast, and can save you from certain death. Movement in Val is applied when either peeking from an angle, which was shown back in the positioning section, or to strafe, which is to make yourself harder to hit. The last fundamental, which is gonna be the hardest to grasp, is the economy. And Val's economy is basically managing your credits in order to buy good weapons, armor, and abilities with enough left over to make another buy next round. But in order to do that, the first round is the one that matters in order to build that up. The first round, which is called the pistol round, is where you start with 800 credits and you can either buy a better pistol, some armor, and some abilities, but this all depends on the agent you're playing, but I'm not going to go too in depth for that. If you were to win the pistol round, then you would do something called a force buy, which is to buy a better weapon, refund your armor, and buy a few more abilities. During the round, if you're low on creds, you would do something called a save round, which is spending as little as possible in order to buy a better loadout next round, and you would usually save around 4,000 credits or more in order to buy a better loadout. And if you were to have enough money, you would do something called a full buy, which is basically buying a full decked out loadout, which contains a good weapon, full armor, and full abilities. And that is all the fundamentals of Valorant. I hope you learned something, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Please leave a like if you enjoyed it, and leave some comments if I missed anything. Another little mention, this is my first time making a video like this, so it may not be the best, but I hope you still enjoyed it. And I hope to see you in the next video. Alright, see ya.